Let's have a look at what the ASHTAS Safety Hardware Training and Accreditation Scheme means for you and your team and how it will help create a right first-time culture to ensure safe and correctly installed barrier systems in Australia and New Zealand.
Let's first look at an overview for the pathways to installer. The first step on the journey is what we call operative accreditation. The next step is the Installer A course that is for inspectors, crew leads, and those that are signing off and handing over completed installations. This course is generic learning how you will demonstrate your competence through the e-logbook and common elements across all systems. On completing the knowledge assessment, you will be provided your e-logbook to complete the common elements for barrier installation. This will be assessed by your trainer, and you will then be invited to continue your journey on to Installer B. Installer B units are generic learning for each system you will be using. Once you have completed the knowledge assessment, you will be provided access to your e-logbook to record your inspections and installations evidence for an independent assessor to review and award your ASHTAS installer accreditation for the system you have completed. This accreditation is valid for 3 years and can be renewed by keeping your e-logbook current and assessed each 3 years. Let's look now a little deeper for each step of the accreditation journey. Operative accreditation. This is for all members in the barrier installer crew. It provides you with an overview of the ASHTAS system, how road barrier systems work, and what it means to be part of an installation crew. Following the successful completion of the learning and knowledge assessment, the learner will be awarded an e-card to demonstrate their successfully completing the accreditation. If you do not progress into installer, this accreditation is renewed every 3 years. Installer A is for team leaders and lead installers. If you are the person responsible for the installation and hand over to the client, this is the second step. As part of this workshop, you will learn the following. What is expected of team leaders and lead installers? How to use the e-logbook to gather information of your practical experience that will be used for your competence assessment and CPD. Generic learning about road barrier systems. How to set out from plans. Generic information about plant and equipment used by installers. Expectations about earthworks, foundations, anchorages, and fasteners. Expectations about verification of your installations and the handover of information. On successfully completing the course and knowledge assessment, your e-card will be updated from operative to Installer A trainee. You will also be issued your generic e-logbook to complete your practical assessment that your trainer will review and let you know when you are ready to progress onto Installer B learning for the system or systems you are working with.
Let's now have a look at each of the Installer B accreditations now so you know which ones are right for you. The first we will look at is Semi-Rigid Generic Knowledge. This course will help you understand the expectations of team leaders and lead installers of semi-rigid barrier systems. We will help guide you to expectations of using your e-logbook for competency assessment for semi-rigid installations. The generic learning about semi-rigid road barrier systems. Legacy systems knowledge. Generic overview product date and system components. Generic installation details for the system. This course will help you understand the expectations of team leaders and lead installers of terminals and end treatment systems. This is for permanent and temporary systems. We will help guide you to expectations of using your e-logbook for competency assessment for terminals and end treatments. The generic learning about terminals and end treatment systems. Generic end treatment knowledge. Safety. Health. Environmental and quality considerations and how the system will work. Generic installation basics and review of some public domain systems you may still see on your network. Generic knowledge about crash cushions and understanding how they work, and things to be aware of regarding their positioning. This course will help you understand the expectations of team leaders and lead installers of wire rope systems. We will help guide you to expectations of using your e-logbook for competency assessment for wire rope systems. The generic learning about terminals and end treatment systems. Generic knowledge about wire rope systems. Generic knowledge about swagging. Generic installation basics to ensure your systems are installed correctly to supplier requirements. An understanding of tension the systems and key things to consider when tensioning wire rope system.
AustroAds and Lantra are working to making available temporary and rigid barrier courses in the near future. Suppliers in the future will also be making available their system training. These accreditations will be optional for installers to complete to demonstrate competency with each product. In summary of the installer accreditation process, following on from the operative accreditation, the learner will complete the Installer A Knowledge and Assessment course and be provided their e-logbook generic elements. The learner will then complete the generic elements in their logbook, and the trainer will assess that they are ready to progress to Installer B. The learner will then be able to complete their knowledge course and assessment for each of the units they work with. On conclusion of the knowledge assessment, they will then be issued their e-logbook for the system. The learner will then in their workplace complete the required elements of the e-logbook on completion of the logbook that will be assessed by an independent Lantra assessor. On successfully completing their e-logbook assessment, the learner will then hold ASHTAS installer accreditation for the system they have completed. This will be valid for 3 years. If you have any questions regarding the courses, please reach out to Roding Industry Support Services, your accredited training provider.